Hi there, Malcolm here with my 246th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a summary wrap-up of 3 point horrors I've just read. Halloween Night by R.L. Stine, The Watcher by Lael Littke, and The Boy Next Door by Sinclair Smith. As in this reading slot, I've been reading the horror that we have in the house, not that we have a huge amount. I made my way through the Goosebumps that we had, a couple of dozen of them. And once I got through that dross, I've been going through my wife's point horror collection, down to the last 4, 3 stories, and there's also a 13 Tales of Horror, a short story collection, which I'll read next time. And on the whole, I found these kind of indifferent for the most part, although there have been some fantastic exceptions. Freeze Tag I thought was excellent, as was The Fever. But these are very 90s tropey type stories, absent or useless parents, main characters who make stupid decisions, and an ongoing threat that can be mysterious enough to be interesting, but then turns out to be for a really stupid reason. Were these any different? Let's break them down. So first up is Halloween Night. This story follows Brenda, whose cousin's parents are in the middle of a divorce, and so has moved into her home while the chaos is going on. And Brenda has been made to give up her room for this cousin, who's got no qualms about helping herself to Brenda's clothes and all that. And before long, Brenda's boyfriend, and then one of Brenda's friends' boyfriends. And meanwhile, Brenda is subjected to a number of very mean pranks, although pranks perhaps a bit too kind a word for the things that have been going on. Something particularly nasty is afoot. She's blaming her cousin, although as a obvious choice, it's a bit too obvious, so it's clearly not going to be the cousin, it's going to be somebody else. And if you pay attention during her interactions with other characters, it's pretty obvious who it is, although the why is a big question. And when the big reveal does happen, I'm not saying that the motivation isn't somewhat justified, but what actually did place could be said to be a little over the top, and I had problems with virtually everything about it. Going through the book, there was this mystery. Now, when I picked the book up, I saw it as R.L. Stine. I thought, it's going to be one of those. And it was, to a degree, a nonsense dream sequence. Because I ought to mention that sometimes point horror do go into the supernatural. There has been one ghost story in The Accident, and The Cemetery also has a more supernatural force behind it. So there's always that little option that it could be something else doing this. Although it's very clear in this one, it's not. Parents weren't absent, but very much not sympathetic with Brenda's plight. She has lost her room. This horrible stuff is happening to her, and oh no, it couldn't possibly be your cousin. Well, why? This stuff didn't happen before the cousin turned up. The cousin's turned up, and now all these things are happening. Okay, she's being framed, but there is a connection there. But it's her fault for not being very kind to her cousin. So, well, why hell should she? So, aggravating. The 2-star slots I have normally are for boring, but just plain dull, and boring, nonsensical. Either I don't know what's going on, or I don't care what's going on. In this case, I'm going to have to add a new one. Boring, aggravating. It's just silly jump scares that are nothing, a nonsense dream sequence that was just bizarre in the first place, and a motivation of, oh, come on, you could have just talked about this, surely. So next up was The Watcher by Lael Littke. And this one follows Catherine, who's absolutely obsessed with the TV soap. Rather cheesy, badly written TV soap, but she absolutely loves it. Particularly as one of the main characters in the story happens to look like her a lot. Although she does dress up to make herself look more like the character. But there is more than a passing similarity. At the start of the story, the character is in a near fatal car crash that has been engineered by a mysterious figure in the story. And then cue some mysterious figure in her real life causing mayhem along the same sort of lines that feature in the show. Each episode that then unfolds gives her huge cause of worry, because it's like, what's going to happen to me now? This one was a lot better written than Halloween Night, and I certainly kept interested in terms of who and why. And in terms of the who, there was a greater group of potential would-be suspects. Are they working together? Are they working alone? But again, the why, that was the one when it fell down. Because first off, the big reveal happened to be the exact same big reveal that happened in Halloween Night. So that was a bit annoying. But then it wasn't this book's fault for me having just read that book. And then the reason why, I'm not saying it's in the total realm of unfeasibility, but really? And I need to tell you, because it's crazy, but it's a spoiler for those who care about that sort of thing. So it's a mute or something. I'll wave at the camera when I'm done. Her mum, when she was younger, dumped a guy for another guy, and the dumped guy shot the other guy and went to jail. The mum of the person doing the stuff to Catherine was the brother of the murderer and went crazy and got institutionalised as well. So her daughter, the niece of the murderer, was targeting Catherine to get back at Catherine's mum for dumping him in the first place, causing him to murder this other guy whose nephew Catherine is now going out with. Alright, waving. Spoilers over. And cue the clip from Spaceball. I'm your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate. Sort of. Okay. I did enjoy most of it though. Like I said, it was really intriguing and I liked guessing who was doing it and why. But when the actual reason came out, it was like, okay. And finally, I read The Boy Next Door by Sinclair Smith. And this follows a girl by the name of Randy. Honestly, who names these children? As she is left home alone. Her dad's some celebrity, but apparently that's okay. And one night she's randomly visited by some strange person who claims to come from the derelict house next door. He's fixing it up for his parents or something. And night by night, this guy appears to her and they go on various dangerous expeditions where there's some near-death experiences that occur each time. Why she puts up with him, I don't know. And even the first encounter where she hears this noise, she goes out onto the porch to see what was going on. He sneaks up behind her and grabs her from behind, going, she's never seen him before. They've never met. You don't introduce yourself that way, guys. But apparently that was absolutely okay. Let's go for a walk in the woods in the dark now, having just come out of nowhere and scared me like that. You strange stranger. Oh, of course I'll dump my boyfriend just because you asked. And then he turns out to be a bit of a weird guy. And it does sort of push that supernatural angle. Spoilers again, it's not. It turns out he's escaped loony. Spoilers over. And it's a really weird, I suppose it's an exploration of a toxic relationship. What she sees him in, why she puts up with him, and why she keeps going back to him. Because he gives nothing back and puts her in all sorts of awkward and dangerous situations for his own personal amusement. Anyway, it comes to some sort of resolution, and that's it. I would say it's worth reading, purely because I was kind of intrigued about where it was going to go, and the potential supernatural aspect really had me hooked there. The ending was obviously a bit of a letdown, but I can't say I didn't enjoy the journey to that point. That's all the point horror done. So have you read much in the way of point horror? Do you have a favourite? I've read about a dozen of these now. Like I say, Freeze Tag, The Fever, Head and Shoulders Above anything else, and the rest are either okay or I mean, horror is not really a genre I go in for hugely, so it might be lost to me that way, but I think I'm happy I've read them, but I wouldn't read them again, necessarily. Alright, comments down below, please. As usual, if nothing else to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Like, subscribe, and other things if you want. And until next time, see you later.